Baton pass.
Yeah. All right. So, hey, Gene, my friend Gene, you played the Death Stranding 2.
I sure did.
I would like to talk to you about Death Stranding 2, about stuff that Wooly can absolutely be here for.
Okay.
Which is the game's overall mechanical flow. I think that this game, the way it paces its challenges and the way that it paces its level structure and the way that it paces your upgrade structure, to be a significant step down from the first game. Would you agree with that?
As one of the crazy people that you mentioned before that played Death Stranding 1 right after finishing Death Stranding 2, and I went back to the PC port of the base game. I didn't even play the director's cut.
You're crazy.
Wow.
You're not.
Not even the director's cut, because I already played the director's cut. So but I wanted to start DS1 and not like, because in Death Stranding 1 you can't make multiple saves. Like it'll eventually like filter out, and that drives me crazy. Thankfully in Death Stranding 2, one of the many mechanical upgrades is that you can have multiple save files. So I was like, but I never played the base version of DS1, but I bought it, and you can't buy it on Steam anymore. It's delisted. So I went back to that one, and I was like, I like progression better here still. It is more natural. It is kind of more rewarding by the time you get to the end of it. And this is an old game that I already know well and love. And I was like, I see it though. I do see that.
So like this is so perfect, because like I was talking to Gene in between like sessions that I was streaming it, and I kept hitting him like, am I crazy? Am I remembering this wrong? I don't remember trucks being able to go like up a 50-degree slope.
No.
I don't remember that at all.
Oh, like it changed.
So Wooly,
the vehicles.
Unfortunately, you do not have the requisite video game knowledge to intrinsically understand the phrase that I'm about to say, but you can Skyrim your way up mountains in vehicles in this game. You can like diagonally pose your truck or trike and just like get enough traction to just wiggle your ass up the most ridiculous of incline with a vehicle.
Okay.
The controls are better now. The controls are way better for driving.
The controls for driving are much better. As a result, it allows you to take a truck to places to like fucking ruin the fucking game's progression. Just fuck it up.
But is it ruining it, or is it kind of meant to be like, you fucking got there, you did it, why not? You know?
So the game follows a really similar structure in terms of progression over like environments. So it's like flat plains, rocky plains, mountain, rocky watery plains,
river,
big ice mountain. Like it's more or less like the same thing. The ice mountain, which is like your final navigatable challenge, I took 2 trips on foot, and the rest I just drove straight over hills and mountains and just ignored it.
And you're talking about not road building, right? Like off terrain. Yeah.
No, just like right over the edge.
Okay.
Yeah. Here's the difference in that when I was driving my truck to the snow mountain, right? But the truck would die in the middle of a snowstorm while I'm stuck in the mountain. So I would have to leave, and then like all of a sudden we went back to DS1. But I think that might have been a consequence of the fact that I was playing it during a review period, and nobody was placing batteries in that area yet. And then and then nobody had played zip lines. Like I saw your playthrough, and then like you just had a fucking zipline network already there.
So Gene and Ludi, friend of the show, Ludwig Vorsel, were in my stream quite a bit, and one of the things that they both noticed. So one of the upgrades you can get, like you have a skill tree now. Games love skill trees now, but one of the skills that you can get is more bridges and zip lines from other people will show up in your game. And there's 2 levels to that.
Okay.
So I don't know if you remember, but in the first Death Stranding, when you brought in other people's zip lines into your game, it would never, and I mean never, bring in 2 connected zip lines.
No.
It would bring in like zip line from Joey, and then nothing, and then zip line from Timmy. And often they didn't really line up correctly. So you had to like place not just the interim one, but you had to place 2 interim ones. I had like zipline networks of 3 lines in a row,
Whoa.
perfectly placed in the mountain as soon as I connected the network.
Wow.
And
Okay.
I was like,
they overtuned it.
so what I did is that I had like a mission where I had to go from like the bottom of the mountain to the absolute top. And on the way there, I pre-placed zip lines at like the tips of the network, right? Just the absolute tips. And then once I ran out of network, I couldn't do that. And then I connected the network, and then somebody else's zip lines were close enough to the ones that I pre-placed that the whole thing was just completely finished one trip in. Like I didn't even have to go back out and reconnect them and move them around. Like that stretch was just done.
It was done. And
So-
I restarted DS2 and I got back to that point like super fast, just to see whether the zipline network. Well, not just to see. I enjoyed the game too, but when I got back there, I was like, oh, this is a whole network already here. Like they overtuned it, I think.
Yeah, like the controls are way better, which means dealing with like human enemies is like much easier.
Okay.
The vehicle controls are way better, and as a result, a lot of environmental challenges are just like mitigated. Like I built roads everywhere, and then at the end of the game I stopped because it was like, well, I don't have time, and that's a different discussion we'll have in a second. I didn't need the roads. The game is flat. Like the game is like overwhelmingly flat. Do you remember in Death Stranding 1, near that mule base near the first mountain on the south side, there was this chasm that would go across the whole map that was like 50 feet deep, that if you didn't hit like a jump right, you wouldn't be able to clear it, and you'd fall through, and all your shit would fall.
I did fall.
Literally never happened to me.
Okay.
Not even one time in the entirety of Death Stranding 2. Now, part of that is that I am a better player because I beat Death Stranding 1. Right?
But
and
it's
Death
also
Stranding 2 gives you a million more tools.
Yeah.
Right? But they don't give you any new challenges.
The environment doesn't rise to the occasion of better controls, better tech, more connectivity, and all the other things you're getting.
Like, God, I want to say like 50 new different like cool items, but the enemy, there's only like one new enemy type, and you just shoot them. You shoot their ass. It's not a problem. And there's no new environmental challenges, not really.
And in DS1, as I went back to Death Stranding 1, I was like, oh, Conan O'Brien is actually a bitch to get to.
Dude, I used him as an example. When I was beating the game, I'm like, there is not a single location in Death Stranding 2 that is as annoying to reach as Conan O'Brien in DS1. Not a single one.
And the collector who collects like PlayStation games, whatever, like you actually have to like create like a weird ladder or one of the climb anchors to climb down to him. You can't just drive there. You can't just walk up there.
Yeah, the social stuff is like crazy overtuned. Like I didn't use I used ladders in my first 2 sessions playing the game, and then never again. Didn't need them. I think I used 2 climbing ropes the whole rest of the game after that.
Okay.
I was like, no, I'm just gonna drive my truck. I'm gonna drive my motorcycle.
No, like laying flat across a tightrope type of thing. Not much. Wow.
Not really, no. Or if you did need to, don't worry, someone already pre-placed it before you. I would like open up the network and see like, a river formation. There's Gene, the river, the river highway that is to the east of the dunes, the one that goes to the Fort Knott.
Oh yeah.
Ghost Hunter. I'm driving down the highway that I didn't
that
have.
river, yeah.
There were 4 community bridges across the river, all next to each other, because they all just loaded in.
I built one of them. I got like 200,000 likes from that bridge. Yeah.
Like every time you link up the network, like the community buildings just explode and just fill the whole game.
But on the other hand, though, I kind of like that though, because I kind of like seeing like the Australian landscape just filled with a lot of light up shit or whatever.
Oh, totally. I just wish it was like, I wish there was more to like mechanically, I think there was one moment well, no, we'll talk about that. There were two things. One is I was complaining about the truck. I was like really viciously complaining about the truck. I was complaining really hard about the truck. I'm like, I've been using the truck the whole game, and yes, I know I control the things that I do in the game, but the game says, hey, you need a truck for this mission. Like they literally say you have too much cargo, you need a truck. So they give you a truck, right? You got to come all the way down from the mountain with the truck. And I'm like, okay. And I had like the most leisurely trip down the mountain I could imagine. Like it was trivial. It was super easy. I didn't run into a single problem. I didn't even like come off. I didn't even tip the car, right? And I got to the bottom, and I was like, all right, well that was chill. And then the reward they gave me was snow tires that make the truck be able to climb like a 70-degree angle on the mountain. And I was like,
okay.
What? It was already too. Are you crazy?
So like, if you were to like a lot of that stuff is like, I would assume just hearing it that you'd be like, okay, so Kojima deliberately decided to de-emphasize the navigation challenge in order to emphasize something else, perhaps, you know?
Yeah. So you do shoot a lot more guns in this game.
I'm bad.
You shoot way more, like way more.
Okay.
But and this is one of the other things that really bugged me. The whole game, I was like, when am I going to deal with more BTs? Because BTs are cool and scary. And the answer is never.
I consider that an issue. Yeah, the less BTs, especially when I went back to DS1, and I was like, DS1 is kind of like a horror game. DS2 is not. And then when you think about the trajectory of our favorite horror games, Resident Evil, even Silent Hill, what did they do? They de-emphasized the horror and the spooks and the scariness and the spookiness. They introduced more action, more shoot bang, right?
Well, the end of what we were talking about in previous weeks, Gene, was that how the end of DS1, or at least the halfway point, you're like, you don't give a fuck about BTs anymore, right? You're just like you're Barry Sanders cutting them up on the field, you know, left, right, fake, oh, touchdown. Like they'd become a mechanical obstacle more than an actual, you know, scary threat, which is also, to be fair, what zombies do become in your RE type games as well and stuff, you know?
So this is on the level designers, or I guess the terrain designer, because a lot of folks are like, well, Pat skipped so many BT areas. There's often like no reason to ever travel through a BT area at all. And when I did travel through them, most of the time I just kept driving in a straight line, and the PTs never were able to catch up to me, and I just rode right through it. There's a sequence in the end of the game during the game's final gauntlet when I'm on a trike, and the game forces you to go through a BT area, and I just drove through it.
I did that a lot. I did do that a lot. I did do that.
I also ran into a lot of scenarios which irked poor Ludwig, where he had built up this super cool combat music for a bunch of sequences, and like I either like launched the motorcycle completely over the sequence or snuck through it completely, and it just causes a cutscene to play, and just like completely like flew through them.
Would you want less freedom, or would you want the challenge of what you're facing brought up, you know?
So one of the things that DS1 I feel did is that like the way that they funneled me into BT areas was by making the I remember there's a spot in the mountains in Death Stranding 1 near about the 80% mark where I chose to go through a BT area in the mountains because the mountainous terrains on the outside of that BT area were such a massive fucking pain in the ass to move through that I said, fuck it, I would rather deal with ghosts. Right? Here, because vehicles are so fast and strong and you can throw a bunch of guns on them that shoot BTs, there was never a point where I was like, I was like, I'll just jive through the BT field, and if they fight me, I'll just like take it out with all my rockets and machine guns in like 5 minutes. Like there was very little threat from them at all. Now I did play on normal, And supposedly the combat difficulty is significantly higher on brutal, which I imagine, and supposedly the penalties to like your cargo's gravity on brutal are also enhanced, so like cargo gets damaged easier. But unless someone is going to tell me that the traction from your car's tires is different on a different difficulty, I cannot imagine any of my complaints would actually change.
It's so interesting to compare this to like how when we talked about crushing Expedition 33 and breaking its system open, you know, through our style of play, because in this case you're like this is a direct sequel to something which had a very different progression through it the first time around, so you can just right off mirror that instead of like essentially looking at this as your first time discovering these mechanics and then exploiting
take
them.
zip lines, right? Because like zip lines were unlocked like about halfway through DS1, right? But like you didn't really get a really good handle on exactly how you should fuck the game up with zip lines until near the end, right? But zip lines unlock like maybe halfway through DS2, but like I already know how to fuck the game up with zip lines because I did it in DS1.
Right.
There's no learning period here. Like you cut that thing together. And then there's like a really strange problem that I ran into at the end that made me convinced that I was playing the game super incorrectly. Like as close as I can feel like Kojima like taking me by the hand and be like, you have played the game wrong, I'm sorry. So there's way more roads to build in Death Stranding 2. Like it's like just the actual like landmass is huge by comparison. So roads become like premium. And there's also what's called a monorail, and a monorail lets you transmit like resources from place to place, right? You can ride it, but you will ride it by hand. And you also get your Metal Gear Rex looking ship called the Magellan. And the Magellan is your fast travel system, right? Okay. So you can get in the Magellan and you can fast travel over to any distro center that you've unlocked. And if you put cargo in the Magellan or are wearing cargo and teleport, then your rating is awful because you just cheated the destination, right?
Yeah, sure.
Like if you grabbed something from the collector and then teleported to the government and then, I just did it in 5 seconds. They're like, well, this shit got fucked up in transit because you cheated, blah, 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 right?
Of course.
But what the Magellan has is a more or less infinite storage space for materials. So by far, the most optimal way to build roads is not to go to mule camps and pick up materials and bring them to the road builders. It's not to even go to the mines and use the game's monorail system to ship them to places that are convenient. The most, like, by far efficient way to play is to get like a distro center to like 4 stars, take every single fucking material, put it in your truck, drive 15 feet to the Magellan and put it in the Magellan, then fly the Magellan over to the closest spot that you want to build roads, take your truck and do it like that. And I did that for like 80% of the game. Man. And I was like, there's no way Kojima expects me to drive a truck to the mine, fill up the truck, drive the truck like 15 minutes real time over to the spot they want the paver to be at, dump it in, drive back to a different mine, and like spend like an hour to do what I did in 4 minutes with the Magellan, right? There's no way, right? So you get to the end of the game and they disable the Magellan. They turn off fast travel. And after they turn off fast travel, for the first time in the game, you get a tutorial prompt that goes, maybe start building roads. Maybe you should go get materials to build roads.
Oh, wow. Wait. So when you got access to doing that, you weren't told to go do that?
No, I was just like, well, this is obviously the fastest and most efficient way to do it. And it turns out
you get an early mission that tells you how to build roads.
How to build a road,
and ran with it.
But completing the road network was not.
Once the game goes into its like end game status, your fast travel options become highly limited. And then the game goes, what if you built a zip line network or did some roads? And I go, but the way the efficient, fast, and fun way to build roads has now been locked off to me. And also, the game gives you like multiple like points of no return warnings, but the last one comes after they have locked off fast travel. The last point of no return warning comes after it's too late to fly around in fast travel.
So then you're stuck doing it the slow way to complete.
Then I was like, well, I just
got
gotta beeline forward with the story.
And you were you were correct to do it the fast way first before the game told you to.
What I should have done is actually the instant I got fast travel back, I bet it should have been like, I'm gonna finish every road in the fucking game.
Yeah. Which to me, I feel like that's kind of like with one, like when I had access to making a road, I would go for it, you know? Did you feel any of this at all, Gene?
So Pat actually mentioned this on his show, where he's like, I guess Gene might have had a better time because he might have played like Final Fantasy VII Rebirth, where he just kind of like finished the quest and didn't do all the roads, and by the time he got to the end, which is true, that's exactly what happened. Like I didn't do trucking like Pat did. I built some roads that might help me in some areas. But I stopped like halfway through, and I was like, all right, well, let me just play the game. So none of this really bothered me because I played it in what might have been the optimal way, the same way I played Final Fantasy VII Rebirth, where Pat was doing every single goddamn side quest as he was going through the map. And what I did was I ignored every single side quest on the map, including the mandatory card game contests where you can decline to do it. And I said I forfeit, so I just lost. I didn't see the cutscene at all. We just got out the boat, and that was it, right?
Me and you are the opposite ends of this fucking spectrum. I think it's so fascinating.
But you're also, but if I may, sorry.
I finished Rebirth in 35 hours, and it was like perfect pacing. I was like, oh, I love the pacing. This is great.
You are playing for review, and you are playing for Twitch, right?
No, the infrastructure stuff, and here's the bigger difference is that the main missions in Death Stranding 2, like I found very dull. To me, the part that I really had a blast with was building up the infrastructure and seeing my model train kit fucking go around and be like, oh, look how pretty the road is. Ooh, it's so orderly and nice. So one of the things that there was a YouTube comment that really nailed it, which was once the game like locked off like Pat's infrastructure show, that put me in a really bad mood. Like really genuinely bad mood, which then set me up to be like unkind to like the narrative moments that I now had to switch gears over.
Okay. Whereas, well, I guess so because
I beat the game, and then so like I had the game like 3-4 weeks in advance. Sony's really good about giving these like their big tentpole games in advance. Like Last of Us Part 2, I had like a whole goddamn month to think about how depressing that was, you know. Whereas Death Stranding 2, I beat the game in like 5-6 days, and then I spent the next 2 weeks trucking. So like my mood was like infinitely better because I was like I was leaving the game off in like the fun part, which is the trucking and the infrastructure building, you know.
Yeah.
So like before I forget, one of the things that drove me up the fucking wall like nuts was at the end of the game, they go, look, dude, you connected all of Australia, and they show you a fucking map that has massive fucking gaps in it because there's a bunch of zones that you probably can't get to until the post game. So they're like, you did it. You linked up the whole network. And I'm like, what about that fucking part? What about this shit?
Is the network just like the southern coast where all the cities are? In real life? Yeah, okay.
No, it's the whole continent. They're doing that thing that Death Stranding 1 did, where Death Stranding 1 was like the whole of America.
Okay.
Even though it was like 20 kilometers squared.
Okay.
Yeah, DS2 is a whole of Australia, even though it has a big snowy mountain in the middle where they're shooting.
Yeah, which Australia doesn't have.
It's interesting because as you guys had the complete opposite like approaches to the playthrough, it feels like, you know, the intended user path is to hit a main mission, like take a little sampler plate of, you know, other things, and then eventually get bored of it or decide, you know, I like these more than those, and then keep going. You know, you're supposed to like mix and match and then go like, all right, now we progress. And they would want you to kind of do a little bit of both in a generalized way. But there's always going to be people who mainline the thing they love the most. And yeah, you should be ready to accommodate that and not have it affect your enjoyment, you know?
Yeah, and people are calling Pat a coward for like avoiding like the BT parts, but it's like, again, as someone who did play Death Stranding 1 extremely recently, like 2 weeks ago, the game does a really good job feeding you into those BT areas. Remember the wind farm in the first area.
That wind farm was awesome.
There is no other way to get past that area besides going through the BT farm if you want to complete the wind farm.
I can imagine. I can see
no wind farm in DS2. So.
I could see myself voluntarily like subjecting, like hitting up those areas and going into them if there was like new wild world mystery attached to it. You know, the craziness of the lore and the setting and trying to figure out what the fuck is happening is an incentive.
DS2 does have side quests that expand stuff.
Absolutely
cool.
Yeah.
One of the things that really was brought to my attention because Ludi was in the chat, which made me feel bad for him because he did a lot of really good music for him. Though I will say one of my all-time like favorite streaming moments in my entire career is listening to some really good like emotional storyline music and like just like this is killer, and looking over and seeing like Forcel in the chat and be like, wow, chat, this music's incredible. I think the composer that did this is named Woodkid.
Good job, Woodkid.
And just seeing him completely crash out in the chat and just be like, I will fight you. I will fight you, you shithead.
That's fucking beautiful.
Woodkid was so good in this.
Got him.
Oh man, Woodkid did such a good job.
Which is so funny for me because I've heard of Ludwig Forcel way before I've ever heard of Woodkid. So.
The only thing I ever heard about Woodkid was he did the Iron music video for Assassin's Creed Revelations a long time ago.
I mean, I'm picturing what you picture is just it's the what he remember the reaction he re-uploaded when the title of
I remember.
Whatever birth explosion, and he's just going
explosion.
Just closing his eyes and yep, okay, all right.
So one of the things that happened, and I'll talk around it a little bit, but it really puts a lot of like a perspective when you have the composer there to talk about the music that you're listening to. And I'm not going to talk about what sequence, but the game has like mandatory combat sequences, right? And in the mandatory combat sequences, the music is like, it's fucking great. Ludi, you did a great job, right? But there's a problem, and the problem is that if you know how to play video games, those mandatory combat sequences are incredibly poorly paced because you will fly through that shit.
Okay, this is everything though. This is like Expedition. This is all how many games where it's like slow it down. You're not going to hear the cool part of the song. You're going to beat it too fast.
The game has a bunch of skills, and one of those skills is like a traditional third-person lock. Like you hit the left trigger, and if you're kind of looking at an enemy, you'll kind of lock onto them, right? The game also goes into slow down when you're discovered, like MGS5, and it also goes into slow down when you kill an enemy or knock them out. Really, you're really knocking them out 99 times out of 10, right? Because lethal is bad, right? So what ended up happening is that there's these big action set piece moments, and enemies would come into view, and the game would slow down. So I would hit left trigger, and I would lock onto them in the slowdown, and then I would hold the trigger to fire the third of a clip that it takes to kill them. The game would stop slowing down and go into like normal time. Every bullet would hit them, they would die, and then it would go into slowdown, which I would then use to aim at the guy next to them and blow through the entire encounter like that.
You're playing super hot in the middle of fucking Death Stranding.
Right?
I love that though.
This is not on Brutal. On Brutal, the game it's not going to be as intense because enemy combat is like much more difficult, right? But like on normal, and like I'm playing a third person shooter, just like vaporize the entire encounter, and I look over in chat and I see him screaming in all caps, I worked really hard on the music.
Yeah.
Please calm down.
Yeah. But what you're describing sounds cool, though, you know?
Right.
Yes. Yeah.
I thought it was cool. I like slowdown in my shooting action games. Max Payne is my favorite shooter of all time. So like when Death Stranding 2 is doing the Max Payne, I'm having fun, even though I'm decimating the enemies too.
Yeah.
I thought that maybe there was a little bit of moments robbed by their like, so like, you know, I played every Metal Gear game on their standard difficulties, and this game is like trivially easy compared to any Metal Gear game.
Yeah, what you're describing is really just, it's a widespread problem across multiple games and genres. I spent a massive amount of Cyberpunk just being afraid to walk forward, to cut off the dialogue conversation, to hit the trigger point, to make an aggro person who's someone you're supposed to go meet is going to be having an interesting conversation, and if you get too close to them, they go, V, you're here, and they interrupt the thing that they're about to say, or even just people talking while you're fighting, and then you cut off the cool shit because you killed them too quickly. Like, it's just a constant problem.
So Cyberpunk had a huge problem before the patches, because like you'd just be driving and like there would be 2 phone calls happening at the same time or something.
Oh my god, yeah.
The game is not able to process, like,
once.
you know, like, oh, you're passing by the mission checkpoint, so someone has to yap about this, but also you're also passing by the boss that does that, so Regina has to call back in too.
Yeah,
that was really bad. That was a huge mess.
So I'm seeing some folks saying that I hate Death Stranding. No, I think Death Stranding 2 is a very, very good game, but Death Stranding 2 has a problem that I didn't feel 1 had quite as strongly, which was the same problem that Witcher 3 has, and it's the same problem that Expedition 33 has, and it's this game has a, regardless of whatever difficulty you play on, it has a completely inverted difficulty scale. The first hour of the game is by far the hardest hour of the game. The second hour is the second hardest, and so on and so forth. By the time you get to the end, you are just like walking through it. And regardless of whatever difficulty you're on, if you made it there, like the end of it is just, and that's a fairly common like problem that they're not like correctly attributing for the increase in player skill.
Donkey Kong Bonanza doesn't have that problem. It has
Donkey Kong Bonanza, I can already tell, does not have that problem.
It has a perfect difficulty arc. Expedition 33 also fucks it up too, because like again, I was doing like 1.8 billion damage by the end of the game, so I was like, there's nothing for me to do here, you know.
So there's a partial version of this in obviously Devil May Cry games, because as you unlock skills and abilities, you can do way more shit later than you can do at first. You know, but again, the occasion has to be met with an increase in difficulty and a rise to the challenge and new ways to, you know, fight things. You can do more shit, so then the enemies are harder to deal with, is kind of how you have to play that.
So that's all my like mechanical complaints. I do have some narrative complaints.
Yeah.
And there's one narrative complaint I like to talk about before you leave, Wooly. And I won't name any names. This game features the stupidest fucking character that Kojima has ever written. Like from talking about it last week, I've pretty much surmised fucking dumbest motherfucker that has ever been.
I have fully surmised your feelings on the character, and yes,
like a character so stupid that after the reveal of how stupid they are, I screamed at them, "Shut up!" every time they talked afterwards.
Gene, do you feel this way about this character?
I actually didn't learn the thing that pissed Pat off so much that he just like just blanked out on the character until after I beat the game.
Oh, wow.
That was an optional story sequence.
It's an optional scene. Because there's a lot of optional story sequences in the game, which I loved. Like, I was like, oh, this is not in DS1 at all. There's so many ways to approach a story. But I did not see that until, like, after I finished the game and after I wrote my review. And then I just finally decided to do it. And I was like, oh, that's weird. Okay. You know?
Gotcha.
But that character's a fucking dumbass, right? Like, holy shit. Like, I'm like, this is the dumbest shit ever. Holy fuck.
I
hate them.
Was it Was that detailed discovery after the fact a paradigm shift for the character?
No.
No, well, Gene, I'm curious.
Oh, sorry.
Oh, I never really care about the character either way. I actually kind of wish that the character would be patched out, honestly.
Okay.
I didn't feel
Jesus
that way
Christ.
until the reveal, but now I do. I feel that they should just be removed from the game entirely.
Wow. Okay. I think it would make sense for you to hit the spoiler cast now, to be honest.
Yeah,
Like, you're
that'd
already
be the
talking
time.
about it. So let's just go right into it. So I'm gonna hit that. Bam.
Ready.
And
We'll give you a bunch of thumbs ups.
now I can't.
And
I
if you
can't.
don't notice, we'll text you.
Yeah. No, I can't mute the Discord because then no one will hear you. But I'll just plug myself out and go for it.
Okay, so this is the Death Stranding 2 Spoilercast featuring Gene Park. Hey, Gene, how you doing?
Hey, what's up, man? Let's yell about Death Stranding 2.
Okay, Dollman's the dumbest bitch. The dumbest bitch. He kills his kid. He kills his child.
So here's where I am. It's funny that you mentioned earlier, like, oh, this person is so talented. So whatever bullshit they're doing, like, I have to kind of figure it out.
Yeah.
That's kind of where I'm at with Kojima, right?
Yeah.
Always with Kojima, right? So like, by defense of like even like the doll man stupidity, because it is stupid. It is objectively stupid, right? is that like, I look at Death Stranding overall as like a parable, you know, like this is just like,
Yeah, right.
This,
Yeah, okay.
this is a stupid person. Like, look at what they did, and now they are being punished with eternal damnation in this doll's body. You know, and then we just get to live the rest of that life out, basically. Where was it going with this? I think it's funny that because you kept talking about how Death Stranding 2 feels like it's a game made for stupid people, right?
They like. There's a sequence near the end, like during the final trip in Mexico, where like Tarman calls you on the phone twice to explain the cutscene you just saw, and he calls you twice.
Yeah.
And I'm like, what, dude? I just saw that. And like in the cutscene, it was like Kojima style exposition where they were just like, here's what's going on with the tar currents and stuff like that. I felt talked down to the whole game, which I hadn't felt in the past.
So here's the interesting that I think I've noticed about, and I've talked to you about this, I think, before, about the Death Stranding 2 discourse, right? Death Stranding 2 is still a widely popular game.
Absolutely.
People are loving it, right? But when I see the accounts that are praising it, I see that these people also typically love like your Red Dead Redemptions.
No!
And your Ghost of Tsushima. I'm not saying these are bad games. These are all fucking awesome games, right? But these are like the games that like the AAA open world, for lack of a better term, slop. I hate that term too. But
Oh no! The slop lovers got to it.
I think so. So it's like, I think like this is again like my Kojima brain defense like mechanisms going on. Like this is the same brain that defended Kanye for 13 years until I had to stop, right?
Yeah.
So like Kojima,
there was a real
I think Kojima is so in tune with the audience that he is like in real time seeing how stupid people are. Because like I'm watching like Donkey Kong streams or like YouTube comments, and like people there can't even fucking follow what the fuck is going on in Donkey Kong. You know?
Jesus Christ.
So what makes you think that they'll follow Death Stranding? So like I think Kojima is so tuned into the audience, he actually probably does think that the audience is stupid.
So like I actually totally agree with you because the Death Stranding 2 story is told a lot more effectively. I just think it's a worse story.
Yes, it's told way cleaner, right?
Yeah, it's much cleaner. There are some parts that I feel like there's some parts that I think like fell really flat. There's like 2 or 3 that I'm like this I don't think it worked even for like the average audience. I think so. Sam Bridges is an audience stand-in. He's like more than Snake ever was. Like he repeats things back to people. He's like anybody's man. He's the blood of the earth, right? And so you're supposed to like embody Sam to a degree. And also Norman Reedus like doesn't talk very much in this game. He doesn't have much dialogue at all, which I think like led to that kind of conclusion. So when like a massive third act part of the story relies on a disconnect between player knowledge and Sam knowledge, I was like totally baffled. Like the game and multiple characters state outright that the BB pod is empty.
Yeah.
And
Ballman
like,
says that to you at the beginning of the game. But
like
that thing
it's
is
very
empty,
overt.
and then like Fragile's like covering his mouth. Yeah.
And like Sam, and like there's the part where like the doctor like scoops in the camera just to read the serial number, and you can clearly see that the pod is literally empty. And Sam watches that, and Sam doesn't actually interact with the pod enough for me to believe that he's like straight up hallucinating. Like you don't have tons of moments of him like talking to the pod, and there's only the soothe the pod mechanic for when you fall down. And so when Sam was like baffled that the pod was empty, I was baffled that Sam was baffled, which seemed like a really like I feel like there wasn't enough of Sam being like, I love my baby who's a ghost in the pod. Like they never address it other than saying there's nothing in there. And then 60 hours later, they're like, no, there's still nothing in there, dude. And then that starts a trend that's really strange. And I will actually say it's like total hack shit. Of the reason why the plot is happening is people who knew better just decided not to tell Sam.
It's convenient that Fragile like had her memory loss, right? Like that's like the writing there, you know.
That one is probably the worst moment in the entire game, where a character actually goes, "Oh right, I'm sorry, I forgot that this person was alive. I knew the whole time. My bad."
I think the more I think about it, the more I think it's like, oh, you could have just written that another way. Because another issue that I also completely agree with you is the ethics of Lucy and Neil.
Dude, it's like that whole storyline sucks and like doesn't need to exist at all.
I like the contours of it, like having like the cuck being with the Baba the Boopy, right? The
cuckababoopy, yeah.
Yeah, the cuckababoopy.
The
Marinelli
is cuckathon, yeah.
Neil is the other guy, right? But you didn't have to write it in a way where he was also a patient of Lucy's. They could have just been.
It makes Lucy like the worst person in the fiction of Death Stranding. It's crazy how evil she is.
Or they just met at a bar or something like that. Like they could have met a lot more naturally, other than Lucy also met him at work, and that was what's going on.
And took advantage of him in like a psychotic state. Like it's absolutely fucked. Yeah. Like what is wrong with that bitch? Holy shit. Like I know dating options in the Death Stranding world are fucking like nil, right? But
that's
holy fuck.
It's like, you know, like everyone in Expedition 33 is fucking because of the Gomage, so it's like, oh, the Death Stranding. So like Lucy is like, well, you know, Luca Marinelli is super hot, so I might as well fuck him too.
Yeah,
you know, I don't know.
I'm not a big fan of how Neil's story is like a one-to-one like mechanical redo of Cliff's story. Like it has a different like underneath. But like are we gonna do Death Stranding 3 and there's gonna be a third ghost military man that ties into Sam's past?
Robert Pattinson, starring Robert Pattinson.
Yeah.
I'm still trying to figure that out, and I would love if the chat or like people on the subreddit would like have a discussion about like why he needed to be Snake. Like I keep like trying to like wrap my head around that. You know,
I have I have a thought on this that is so cynical. I'm kind of surprised by myself. In terms of like appealing to the average audience kind of thing, I genuinely believe that there are parts of this game that were put in because they remind people of Metal Gear and they could be put into trailers. Like I am absolutely convinced that Luca Babadaboopy puts on Snake's headband and looks like Solid Snake so that you could put it into a trailer and people would think it's Metal Gear. I absolutely 100% believe that there is a cyborg ninja in this game. That is the single most dropped plot thread possible.
Yeah, he's Deadman, but he's not Deadman. He's actually Higgs the whole time, but Deadman was able to control him that one time, you know?
Well, no, it's Deadman, and it's Deadman's like body, but once Deadman jumps into Heartman to go to the final area, Higgs steals the suit.
Higgs said, I've been controlling this the whole time, though. So I'm just like, what are you talking about?
Well, so the thing about the Dead Man is Cyborg Ninja reveal is it happened, and I just went, why?
Why didn't he tell
Why
you?
would he hide himself? He could have been on the ship hanging out with us the whole game. Like, there's like what? Like, why?
Well, that's why I don't think he was Dead Man the whole time. But then it's like, okay, so was Higgs just fighting himself as the samurai, and he was just like putting on a fucking show for Sam at the weapons factory?
Well, no, because you see the big body that the ninja goes into in the Dead Man death scene at the beginning of the game. So it was Dead Man's plan, but also Dead Man hides the fact that he's in Heartman, but then you catch him and he's like, "Hey, what's up? It's me, Dead Man."
Oh, that's right. Yeah. He could have just let people know. By the way, I'm also LARPing as Heartman for 3 minutes at a time.
And it's like, what? But why? Like, why kill the character at all? He could have just been with us on the ship like the whole time. Like, there was absolutely nothing.
Yeah, but we got that great scene of Dollman peeping up through the grate and Sam looking too.
That was all right. Yeah, that was all right. I think that Higgs being like the one note Joker loser, like I thought I hated it. Like it was so weird. I started the game and I was like, this is great. I love that he's just a hater. And then as he kept coming up into cutscenes with absolutely no depth, I'm like, this sucks actually. But then when he sets Sam on fire and all that shit, I'm like, oh wait, I actually really appreciate how much of a fucking hater this is. This is crazy. This is really good. And for him to just go, actually, I'm exactly the same character I was at the end of Death Stranding 1, and the ending of this game is just going to be literally the post credits like fight scene of Death Stranding 1 again. I was like, oh, this is so boring. Like the
PS4.
Like, yeah, and I'm just gonna do a MGS4 cosplay at the end, and I'm gonna say "kept you waiting, huh?" so that you can be reminded of like Metal Gear.
Yeah, sadly you missed the best part of the fight though. I don't know why the prop didn't show up for you, but
So I played this game in a way that I was constantly told by you, by chat, by the game's own like staff, dude, how did you even miss that part? How did you miss that fight? How did you miss that sequence? How did you miss the guitar battle? I don't know.
I checked your feed. I was like was Pat just dumb and he just didn't see the QTE? And it's like, no,
I missed the QTE once, but then I redid and died, and then I did the fight again and it never showed up.
You just never showed up, yeah. And you just like, and by that time you were kind of checked out of the game, so you're just kind of barreling through the fight.
Yeah, I was just beating it up just to do it.
Yeah. But you missed it because it's basically the two bros just with a jail.
Yeah, they're just jerking it. Yeah. I think APAS being built up the whole game as the evil AI, only to get fucking wrecked in the same cutscene that they reveal themselves to be the big bad, is like, on one hand, it's kind of hilarious. On the other hand, I'm like, you could have just removed this entire plot line and it would have made no difference. You would have cut out Die Hard Man's cool dance scene, which was awesome.
That was when the game was starting to turn you around. You're like, okay,
I was like, okay, is this shit gonna get just really dumb? And then I was like, no, it's serious again. But no, it's dumb. So it's weird because like that second walk in the time stream with like Lou on his chest and with BB's theme playing, that was like really emotive and moving, and I credit Ludi with a lot for that moment, because BB's theme is fucking unbelievable.
BB's theme is the best. It's the greatest song ever.
And the fact that they bring it back for the core thematic purpose of it is awesome. I think that the single largest plot point in the entire game being something that Woolie figured out on this podcast upon the game's announcement might have been a mistake. Now, I know the people that are sitting in this digital studio, you, me, and Woolie, are Kojima pilled to hell. Like, absolutely massively fucking Kojumboed. But I don't think that you should be able to like see a character literally once and understand every single part of that character's story and plot twist, etc., for the whole fucking game, and for that to be your last, like dead last story revelation. Like there was a part where Higgs is like, she's your daughter, dumb, and they stand around talking about like Sam like giving up his sperm to the government, and like maybe it's like a extra, and I'm just like, you're all so stupid. You're all so dumb. Why are you treating me like I'm dumb? It's obviously, what the fuck?
I think you are very valid for being frustrated with the with the utter lack of plot twists and like how predictable they were, because Kojima has set a precedent his entire fucking career from game one. Well, not game one, but Metal Gear 1. Metal Gear 1 on the MSX. Every single game was about plot twists. Hey, Big Boss is actually the bad guy. Hey, Liquid Snake was this person. But whatever,
that's crazy.
You know? Yeah.
And also, like, the game is telling me that it's a big twist. Like, the game is acting like, oh, can you believe?
I feel like the game wasn't acting that way. I didn't get that. I was confused the whole time. I was like, why is Kojima suddenly writing the most anti-spoiler story I've ever seen? To the point where it's like, you know, Tomorrow had a bandage on her elbow, like when she got back out of the case, and it's like, what are you doing here? Like,
are you kidding me?
Yeah, like what is going on? I was like, why is this so predictable? You know, there's like no twist or anything like that. So.
Hey, Elle Fanning, the Elle Fanning baby face with the blonde hair and green eyes is here to play an unrelated mystery character immediately after the baby with blonde hair and green eyes gets sent to the Shadow Realm and die. Like, are you fucking like is everyone taking credit? And then the one that made me like laugh because it was so like stupid was Deadman being like, now that Tomorrow is on the ship, I gave her all of Lou's vaccines because, I mean, who else is gonna get them? And I'm just like, shut up. Shut up. You're stupid. Don't talk,
I'm not sure
don't
why
talk
he wrote
down to me like this.
I don't know, because he's talking to the AAA crowd. He's trying to appeal to them. I do think that a lot of the game, including the lack of BTs, or the lack of, like, you know, scary ghost people that you can't see, you know, that's very inaccessible to people. The flatter land, the more emphasis on action. The story that insists on explaining itself, not insists on itself. It insists on itself.
No, I would want it to insist on itself.
Yeah, it should have insisted on itself more. It should have been, but it's like all this stuff is, I think, Kojima realizing, fuck, I do have a fiduciary responsibility to these employers that I
probably
hired.
make the money.
I should probably make some money and make a game that will appeal to more people.
Yeah,
I'm not sure why he said he gave that interview, or what like maybe Woodkid was like trying to put that out there where it's like, oh, it's like being divisive or whatever. It's like, no, this is actually.
So I actually don't believe that statement at all.
Yeah,
like, because the game really feels like it's been made to like make the maximum amount of players happy.
Yeah, and it sold #1 in Circana on PlayStation after only 9 days. Only 9 days on the market, and it was #1 on PlayStation.
And it's an excellent game. Like, don't folks at home listening, don't take my massive hour-long bitch fest about this game as proof that it is bad. No, this game fulfills the same spot in my heart that Dark Souls 2 does, which is a game that I will bitch about until I die. Really good game. Excellent game. Million things about it that drive me crazy compared to the first one, which I adore. I feel frustrated that the game that he decided to smooth out for normies was the super weird delivery man ghost simulator. Like the fucking weird one. Like, I think Metal Gear Solid 4 and 5 already did too much of that, and that was like modern military stuff.
I do think it's well. Here's another huge reason why I like the game so much. MGS5. Like I adore MGS5. I played 700 hours of MGS5. I played that game like it was a god. I played it like a goddamn MMO. So like the fact that DS2 was so MGS5 like, I was like, oh, perfect. This is hitting all the spots for me.
Oh yeah, no, there's some moments in that I was like, I was playing it like, and so I still never played Metal Gear Solid 5 because the way that we did the LP just left a weird situation there.
That'd be a very fun stream for you. Yeah.
But Death Stranding 2, like there's parts where I was like sneaking, like I was doing a sneaking mission, right? I was putting my backpack down. I was beating dudes up and I was tranquilizing them. I'm like, this is fucking great. And there's actually like fairly little of that though. Like in the total like runtime, like I think I did that to like 4 bases in like the whole game.
I know, but I'm a MGS5 player, so I'm a sandbox player. So I'm just like, no, I'm gonna keep doing this over and over again. I love this, you know.
So yeah, good game. I'd give it a 4 out of 5 stars. You do a 4-star system, right?
I do 4 stars. I gave it 4 stars. But I will say one thing about APAS. APAS is very dumb, right? I do think it's Kojima trying to be a little more hopecore about his view on technology and trying to like revisit his view on what MGS2 was like, where MGS2 was like, look at the internet, it's going to be terrible, and then the internet was terrible. You know, everything came true, right? Yeah. And so like I think it's like the purpose of him APAS being so fucking stupid and idiotic, and then Die Hardman coming in. Die Hardman, who is the kind of like the father figure, he is replacing Cliff, right?
He's also like the most overtly like human character.
Exactly, he's like the most human, the fleshed out character. He's out there dancing, being gay, you know, like awesome. Literally comes out of the fucking shadow closet. He
smiles the most of all the characters except for Rainey.
That's true. He's like touching Sam like warmly and everything like that. And he dispersed of APAS by coming in and singing BB's theme, which is the song.
Yeah, he's like, I tricked you, dumb fucks. You're idiots. You're
which
stupid.
is the song that Cliff was singing to Norman or Sam when he was a baby. And then so now Die Hardman, the now adopted father or whatever, is now coming to save Sam from this evil technology. And then so like he says it on his face. He's like, well, you know, we can use the magic of the chiral network for good, not evil.
Absolutely.
So I feel like that's him saying like, hey, maybe we could just like use the internet for good, which is not really saying anything new or interesting or cool. But like that's where I'm kind of landing it at. So.
Do you think it's weird that Kojima keeps casting like super big name Hollywood actors and giving them like 40 total lines of dialogue?
I think it's great. I think that's the best part.
Oh yeah, is it? Because I think it's like Sam is Norman Reedus, and I'm like, I cannot think of like a single line of dialogue that Sam says in the entire game.
All I want the behind the scenes like footage of Troy Baker and Norman Reedus jacking each other off with the guitar mix and going like Troy Baker.
That got really homoerotic at the end.
Very like the facial motion capture on Troy's face is like crazy. I was like, I feel like I'm there sweating with them, you know?
Like, and it's weird because it got like homoerotic in a way that I don't think like Snake and Liquid were, because Snake and Liquid were like 80s kind of machismo, whereas like Higgs is like more slender, and like he takes Sam's shirt off.
Yeah,
like he teleports him in with no shirt because I don't know. Are you sure you don't want to kiss? Are you sure you just don't want to kiss?
Yeah. Apparently, there's a line in there, and this is why I'm actually replaying Death Stranding 2. Although Donkey Kong Bonanza completely fucking derailed that, right? Is that I want to get back to the save file with that fight, because apparently, if you just watch Troy like fuck around during that fight, he'll say how much he loves pizza, but he doesn't love pizza as much as you, Sam. I want to hear that.
Aww.
Also, there's the tentacle makeout scene that I'm not sure.
I don't think
anyone saw, but there's that too. So.
But yeah, I would say like this is a very good game, but I don't think like my most disliked Kojima game is Metal Gear Solid 4 by like a country mile. Like I fucking actually hate MGS4.
I was still right that this is the best written game. I was wrong about Death Stranding 1. I went back to Death Stranding 1. I was like, no, Death Stranding 1 is the best written game since MGS3. But this is still his second best written game.
I don't think that's true at all.
Well, MGS4 and MGS5, you think it's better? You think it's worse than MGS5?
No, but I'm including like the MSX games.
No, like since Snake Eater, not ever.
Oh yeah, then definitely MGS4 is a fucking mess.
Yeah,
Nano machines, dude. People were right to make fun of that as like the catch-all solution to literally every single plot point in that entire series.
Yeah, it sure was. You know. But yeah, I mean, look, this is a guy that wrote about the ARM getting taken over by Liquid, you know. So
I almost expected that to come back here.
I thought that something like that would happen, and I'm like, I'm along for the ride. Fuck it. Whatever.
I thought that was going to happen to Tarman.
Yeah, I'm already Sandy brained anyway, so it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
You know, that's the issue.
I think I've said everything that I want. Oh no, wait, there's one thing. I think Lou being his real daughter sucks.
I kind of like it. I like it.
I was way more interested in that relationship as a sad, lonely man with nothing finding like love in his heart for a dumpster baby.
I absolutely love that too. But again, I see this as a parable. I think Kojima is just writing fairy tales and not really like real stories. You know. So it's like, oh well, after years of suffering, here is your daughter again.
Yeah,
you know?
there is one tiny little thing, and this is my only complaint as a dad for the whole thing. So like, regardless of all the story things, like there's still like there's an implicit like care for BB-28/Lou/Tomorrow, right? As like a child figure. The stinger of the game showing her smoking made me so pissed off. Because like it's cool for your character, but you would never, ever, ever want your child to smoke. Just to put that out.
Mm-hmm.
That's bad for you.
As a former smoker, there is no other game worse triggering for me than the Death Stranding series. Yeah, because I still want to smoke every day. I have a fake fucking plastic cigarette here that I put into my mouth because I thought that it would help me, but it doesn't. It just makes it worse, so I don't use it.
Dude, why would you fucking think that would help you?
Because I'm a fucking addict. That's why.
Hold on. We gotta get Woolie back. I want his opinion on this nonsense.
Okay, yeah.
This is nonsense. Gene, tell this man what you just told me.
Okay, so we were just talking about how Death Stranding can be triggering for a former smoker like me, because Kojima makes smoking. Kojima doesn't even fucking smoke himself, but for some reason he makes smoking look so satisfying and good.
Oh,
you know?
when he puts his fingers to his mouth while posing with the other two actors, yeah.
Which apparently Ludwig told Pat in his chat that was his idea.
That was his idea. Oh. That was Ludi's idea. Because they were doing the photo, and he's like, pretend you're smoking.
Ludwig, the great composer, composed that incredible moment for all of us.
We gave Kojima so much shit over that, and that's Ludwig's fault?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Oh my god, wow. Well, I'm still blaming him.
But Kojima makes smoking look so satisfying. Like when I was playing DS1 and Cliff Unger is like, and then like Luca Marinelli is doing that, and then like, you know, you see other characters smoking, Fragile smoking in DS2. And I'm like, it's so bad for me because I spent 8 years since I quit smoking, and I still struggle every day. So that's why, and this is what Pat wants to hear, is that I bought fake cigarettes on Amazon for like a set.
Yeah.
Because I thought that it will help me like with my oral fixation.
Yeah.
And that would help. But it does not. It actually makes me want to smoke a cigarette.
It makes it worse.
Yeah. I don't use it. I just have it in my drawer for no reason because for this bit, basically.
I completely understand because back in the day, ever since high school, I always used to draw characters smoking simply because secondary animation of smoke looks really cool. And anytime you're moving in a direction and the smoke trails with you, it looks awesome. It's the effect.
There is a fetishization of smoking in Death Stranding 2 that borders on the absurd.
You can do it's the effect of the lights on the back of the Akira bike. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It looks awesome. It's a great thing. And when you see certain characters in a certain way, like think of the end of Tank when you see Spike Spiegel like all right, that one drag that goes all the way up is incredible. It looks so cool for art. But it's terrible for you.
Terrible. Makes you smell.
Let me tell you, I literally fantasize about knowing the day I will die so I can smoke and have a last stogie just like Big Boss.
Don't do it, Gene.
Literally just like Big Boss. So I can say this is good, isn't it? And just fucking check out.
Peepaw Gene's going today. Give him his pack.
Yep, basically. I'm excited for the day I die, so I can just fucking smoke a cigarette again.
God,
you know, my grandfather My grandfather got diagnosed with lung
Damn.
cancer at 87. And he was like, "Fuck it, I'm not quitting now." You
Yeah,
know?
Well, I
yeah,
mean,
that
what- I
attitude.
mean, What are you gonna do? Go through fucking chemo at 87? Nah, give me my pack. Give me my puff
God,
puffs.
that MGS4 loading screen when he's like, they actually have the time to be like, no, put your cigarette away in a little container. Don't just drop it. Be polite. Be considerate about it. But fucking, get it in there. Yeah, that's nuts. I don't suppose you have you guys don't have those Canadian pack style like, look at this lung exploding into guck. Look at this baby. Look at
I don't
this.
think I do.
Yeah, our Canadian smoking packs have like nightmare fuel on them to be like, this is what it causes, and it's just like teeth falling out of mouths, and
They're I remember
that wouldn't have worked on me. So
I remember when I was working at the grocery store, people like the anti-smoking ads that would featured like diseased lungs and shit. Not only did they not work, but like people would come in and ask for specific warning packs. They'd be like, I want the one with the lungs.
Yep. Give me the baby. Yep.
So that's the thing. That's the only one that worked. The one with like a sick or dead baby or fetus on them, people didn't want to smoke those ones. Even men didn't want to smoke those ones. That was the ones that worked.
One step further, I remember certain dépanneurs would have at the cash a cover that you could buy to put right over the pack, and it was literally just a big text box that was as large as the photo, and it said Surgeon General's warning, blah blah blah. It was so crazy. You're like, oh, we're going so far the other way. It was nuts, man. Yeah, I get it.
But yeah, well, smoking does make you feel cool. I used to do that all the time. I used to have movement, you know. I would leave smoke trails, man. That shit was awesome.
Right,
you know?
like punctuating your points when it's in your hand, you know, just lighting up in the cold. In fact, people going out for smoke breaks when you'd work, they're acceptable. They get more breaks.
Bullshit, dude.
They get more breaks, and it's okay because everyone accepts it. Also, the boss is smoking, so you guys are getting buddy while you're going on break constantly throughout the day together. You don't get to make friends with the people who are not on smoke break and all the higher ups. It's garbage all the way around, 100%.
Yeah,
man.
you know, and I would like treat it like a yakuza, like underling, when I would like light my boss's cigarette for them. I'm like, don't worry, boss, I got this. You know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
Death Stranding 2 is a good game. I have some misgivings.
Okay.
That's the summation of our thoughts.
Okay.
Gene really likes it.
Cool.
I liked it more.
Yeah, he liked it.
I
more
like
than I
this. I do like Death Stranding 1 more though.
I was gonna say,
Ultimately.
is the ultimate though that like, do you feel that 1 is better? Do you both feel that way? Yeah.
Yeah,
Yes.
I feel a little more strongly, but like a lot of it is that like Death Stranding 2 feels like Death Stranding 1 again, but not quite as interesting.
And do you?
That is right. That it is the most iterative Kojima game, and I know I realized that immediately when as soon as I started playing. I was like, this is just Death Stranding 1 again. I was like, there's never been a Kojima game like this, where Kojima is like, what if I just take the last game and just like made it a little bit better? You know?
Right. Like, or even because I know we've had this conversation where like you guys have, but with Pat, where we've been talking about how it's like, oh, Metal Gear every time, but but thematically on the broad strokes, there's wild changes.
This is much more similar to Death Stranding 1 than any Metal Gear is to any Metal Gear.
Right.
Exactly. Mechanically, even from 2 to 3, like that was probably the most similar. And even then, it's like 3 introduced so much of the level design, the camouflage system, the fucking eating, the melee system.
Right.
Like, it's a vastly different game besides the camera angle, basically. Right.
And I guess the one last thing I'm wondering, does that article about Kojima going, shit, too many people are enjoying this, it's not divisive enough?
I don't get it.
We talked about that. We think he's lying. We think
he's full of shit.
We think Woodkid is a liar.
Well, I didn't say that. But like the game feels like smoothed out.
Yeah.
The game feels like the friction like rubbed off.
Okay, so that
for like a mass audience,
that whole thing doesn't really track. Then.
It makes no sense.
It
makes absolutely no sense.
As I was playing, I was like, I'm not sure what he's talking about here. So.
Okay, all right. Death Stranding 2 Spoilercast over.